Oh, Aston, come on, man.
Use some help over here.
Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name's Skyman Universe. I'm such an idiot. Like, just purely because we had the last episode literally a few days ago, May the 4th, and I assume that those were 2 episodes combined, so I thought to myself, we definitely won't be having another episode at the end of this week, because the Mandalorian was always on a Friday as well. So I didn't check. Then I got recommended something, and here we are, belated and late.
As usual.
Yeah, slightly little later than I'd hoped for. But I'm still, this is good, because I'm still absolutely buzzing from the first episode of The Bad Batch. I loved it so much. It was just a complete, that beginning with the Jedi purge and starting off in Revenge of the Sith and intertwining scenes from Revenge of the Sith. This just makes me want so much to watch Revenge of the Sith in the Clone Wars style. Now I know someone's doing a Obi-Wan and Anakin Mustafar battle on that, which looks so awesome. I'll pop a link in the description if you haven't seen it already. But I'd love to see it in the Clone Wars format. That would be so amazing, and maybe like some different angles. I'd pay good money for that, but that's just me. But that's what I really liked about this. It started in somewhere familiar, and now it's gonna sort of pick up the thread and take us on new places. And I think where they're going with this at the moment, and already creating the antagonist with Crosshairs, I think that was his name, who I really liked, by the way. I just really hope he didn't turn bad, but like I said, I hope he turns good later on. I have no idea, apart from that, as to where the story is going. One of you in the comments kindly let me know where they was heading to in this one. K something planet, the planet where that clone farmer was with the Twi'lek, and they're going back there, which is pretty awesome. So no idea what to expect. It's literally just a blank canvas to me at the moment, because we've seen like the important things and the transition into the Empire, which is just incredible. But I'm really liking where this show is going, and I was skeptical with Omega, and I'm still, I think once I see a bit more, I'll make my mind up. But in Dave Filoni, we trust. I trust everything that man creates and does, because you know it's right. He's like just another George Lucas. I'm very excited to watch this. Hopefully it's a great one. I can't imagine it's going to be filled with like Order 66, Kanan Jarrus, Revenge of the Sith type surprises for me. That kind of started playing on my heartstring a little bit, but that stuff always does, and sure is going to get a reaction out of me. I feel like Bad Batch is just going to keep going strength to strength, but we'll see at the end of this if that is the case, but I'm quietly confident that will be. So let's enjoy. Pack your things, we're leaving. Oh, one does not skip the intro. I thought I was going to do the Clone Wars voiceover startup. It's weird, I just feel like they all belong, they're like family, close. These are signs of good characters to me. And just to think it's all like a clone, played by one guy. That's incredible. Is that the attack pattern? Maybe Omega is like a representation of the fans right now, going back into Star Wars.
What's with her?
It's weird, it makes you wonder if you'd never gone to a planet with grass and dirt, what you'd actually do. Is that the thing that Jabba the Hutt?
More clones who have lost their way.
He's got old.
It's been a while.
This is what I love, the callbacks to the Clone Wars. Like, you can explore old Clone Wars characters now. Like, you bring so many in. I love how the Bad Batch has gone from like hardcore Revenge of the Sith war to like this family stuff now. If you go and play kids.
Rex warned us of the storm that's coming. Clone troopers have already started showing
Tell
up.
me we're gonna see Rex.
Heading into
Time shot the Empire's reign. Doesn't seem too bad. I swear there's a lot of pod racer references going in this one.
My what?
Sounds like a Sarge of interest to me.
Your chain.
Galactic Empire. The war is over. With peace comes opportunity and prosperity for all.
Get in line, get your chain code, and don't make any trouble.
Are you hurt? Let's take a look here.
I think this episode is like skips. And helps be a good parent. I don't know why I think clone troopers are scarier, more threatening than stormtroopers, like bad clones. K2. Oh, that's what it is. I'll just take 100. Oh, Aston, come on, man. As much as I don't like astromechs getting destroyed, they deserve that.
We can use some help over here. Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see my identification. You can go about your business. Move along. I'm hoping there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi quote in every episode.
Didn't tell her?
Damn, I missed that. Don't do it, Hunter. You only go back. Oh yeah, the whole time he's still in the gunfight. I love how I just don't think twice about being the clone brothers anymore. It's not a thing with the Bad Batch. You don't lift the whole ship. Doesn't break it. It's perfectly normal, kid.
Then this is where you'll stay.
Yay. I feel like I really need to learn the things. And there we have it, cut and run. I don't know why I thought that was episode 3. But yeah, that 30 minutes, I don't think too much happened in there, but it still felt like it went like that, which means I probably was enjoying myself an awful lot. I think the main premise of that was literally landing there to then escape. It just got complicated then for escaping. But the thing I love about this time so much is this transition from the Empire, from the Clone War, from the clones to the Empire, and all the things like the chain codes and everything they do, like when they try to trick everyone in the galaxy. Oh, for prosperity, for every planet, you must have a chain code. But really, it's just to keep an eye on everyone so they have complete control over every system. I think I love seeing bits like that because it just adds more value to the Empire. It makes the Empire cooler, and I think it's just such an intriguing thing at this time because it's everything. It's like, yeah, sure, the droids have gone, and it makes you wonder if they're actually going to do a droid episode with this, because there must be remnants. Like we saw in Rebels, where the droids were still sort of battling, and then they team up with the clones to take on stormtroopers, but there must be some sort of remnants of droid armies. They can't have like disappeared completely. Like if they were shut down, then yeah, but there must be a massive facility with loads and loads of droids on. And I'd love to see an episode like that where they're sort of sneaking around, maybe even at a droid factory, and then obviously the droids obviously recognise them as clones still, and that could be an awesome sort of Clone Warsy style thing, although obviously it's not the Clone Wars, but I think that'd be a tenuous situation to get themselves in. I think with the Bad Batch, there's so much potential here, and where they're going with this and what they can do. I personally like the fact that we're sort of sticking close to the characters, and I've got the sort of Mandalorian vibes going for it at the moment, like where they, well, this episode anyway, where you go to like a sort of unknown planet, and then they go to sort of small village type thing, and then they have to kind of escape or take on someone, and then the premise is they leave sort of thing. And thing with Omega is kind of like the Baby Yoda type thing, Grogu, where he's trying to, obviously he can't be a Mandalorian, Din can't be a father to Grogu, so he tries to let someone else do it, and he's can't come into the world that Mandalorian's in, like he's got no place in there because it's, you know, too dangerous. And that's the same thing here, but obviously he was going to take Omega with him. Like there was no point in my mind where I thought, nah, she's going to go off with the farmers. Like it was obviously going to happen. And I kind of like the dynamic that's being developed there. I mean, it's kind of another aspect of the Star Wars universe between two people. This seems very, very sort of family orientated now, and I think the further we go, then I think the Bad Batch is going to be more of a family type thing. But my only concern with that is that in the Bad Batch in the Clone Wars, I loved seeing the Bad Batch kicking ass and doing, badass things basically, and doing things which clones wouldn't normally do, like on the battlefield. And the Bad Batch, because they think differently, they all have different attributes. Like they do things slightly differently, a little bit more entertaining than the normal regs, so to speak. So I really hope that sort of steers in that direction a little bit more, because I like seeing their ingenuity and how they sort of solve problems as a team, and their personalities work so well together. This is why I strongly believe that Crosshairs should still be in here, because he's sort of the no-nonsense guy, so he will have opinion about everything, so it sort of counterbalances Hunter's and everyone else's sort of more reasonable opinions, and he just says it how it is. But then when he doesn't get his own way, I think there's a lot of humour to be had there. I think it'd still be great as an antagonist, but I really hope, and I hope it's going to be soon as well, that there's going to be an episode where they learn up, well, Hunter learns a bit more about the prohibitor chips, and then they go to save him. Though I feel like if that happens, that would be sort of near the end of the season, but I think it would add value to the dynamics of the group if he was in there, Crosshairs was in there as well, because I don't know why, but I just thought Crosshairs was really cool, and that sort of cowboy, I know you have it sort of the Mandalorian, but the cowboy in this, where he actually, has his thing he's chewing on, and I thought that was a pretty awesome character, though I hope he crops up more in it, but this, I think there's two ways which I'm thinking about this. Like, I like the family-orientated stuff, and it's touching, emotional, etc., etc. Like, in the Star Wars universe, I'm never going to complain about those sort of emotional things. But knowing what the Bad Batch is, and what they're about, and what they can do, there's a massive part of me which thinks, and I really want to see them in battle and just have these big old fights and these big old whatever adventures they're going on. So this episode kind of felt a little bit more like the filler episode. It was like the calm after the storm, but I think it would probably pick up a little bit more. I think this is sort of more character developing, building the dynamics between Omega and stuff. Like, I don't know why this episode felt like it was 5 minutes long for me, even though it's 30 minutes, but I was really hoping, I know it wasn't going to happen, but these episodes were going to be just like a little bit longer, kind of like The Mandalorian, which fluctuated a little bit, but it was like 50. I think one of the shortest episodes was like 35, and then it went up to 50. So I was hoping that maybe this will be like 40 minutes, just that extra 10 minutes more where they can do a little bit more stuff, because 30 minutes goes far too quickly in the Star Wars world. Well, it does for me anyway. Not quite sure about you. And you probably think that's a normal time. I don't know how any Star Wars fan could think that way, because, you don't want it to stop. But I assume now we have to wait another week. And once again, I don't know about you, am unable to speculate what to expect in the next episode. I don't want to look up any titles if they're out as well, because I don't want to spoil it for myself, but I do kind of want to have some sort of outline as to what's going to be cropping up in the future, because I think the Mandalorian, that was obviously when he got Grogu, and that was his sort of motive, was to return him and then change to protecting him. And now with Omega, it's kind of the same thing, but I feel like the Bad Batch is more about the big picture with these small group of people, but it's about the big picture in the galaxy, because I think they're very much, being clones, they're very much intertwined in the galaxy, and with their empire. So that's the bits I want to see, is them obviously not getting recognized, escaping the empire, doing new things and interesting things in battle and things. Like I said in the previous reactions to this, on the first episode, where I love that when they're in battle, like the creators come up with new and interesting ways for the clones to fight, and it's always interesting, and that's the bit what I always like, to think, I don't know how they're going to get out of this one, and then there's this like really interesting way the Bad Batch do things to get out of that, and it always makes it exciting for me. But damn, those clone troopers, I find them really eerie, and if you saw them pre-Order 66, they're good guys and they look like good guys, but now post, it's really strange. Like, they look creepy and eerie, and I'm getting those Revenge of the Sith vibes. And I think it's the air of mystery of not really knowing, because we know that there are no clones like that really turn into stormtroopers. Maybe there will be, but we know they sort of, get brushed aside, and then as everyone else gets to become stormtroopers, enlisted stormtroopers. So it's kind of like this doomed fate for them, and it makes me wonder: is there going to be some sort of, like, dare I say, like a clone purge or something like that? Maybe there's something going. I don't know. I'm just really intrigued, and like I said, this is something I wondered about since I was a kid, and wondering what happens to the clones and how it turns into the Empire. And now, 15 years later, we're able to get these things answered, and this is why it's very exciting for me. But yeah, I'm going to say it again. If you know what's going on with the next episode, then let me know below. I would very much appreciate it. And where you think this story is going, or what you would like to see for the future of these episodes. But overall, I think this was a very enjoyable episode. It was more sort of the dynamics between Hunter and Omega, and sort of with the grand scheme of the Empire in the background, subtly in the background, looming over everything. And that's what I like. So yeah, it's really good. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode reaction of Cut and Run. I'll be doing the same thing for next week. So until then, take care of yourself, and remember, the Force will be with you always.